let me take the opportunity to welcome everyone here to Abu Dhabi Finance Week in ADGM. It's a pretty amazing venue, and thank you all for being here. I today have the distinct pleasure and honor to speak to what people call the macro god, Alan Howard. Uh, Alan, through his eponymous hedge fund, Brevin, have now been in Abu Dhabi for over 3 years. So maybe Alan, that'll be a good place for us to start. So 3 years ago, we met here in Abu Dhabi and then in London, and we were discussing about potentially what could Brevin do with ADGM. We've clearly come a long way since then, but it'll be good for me to kind of go back to the beginning and say, what was the thinking behind Brevin's setup in Abu Dhabi and ADGM?
Thank you, Arvind. So many reasons for why we set up here. And a few years ago when I came here, the thing that strikes you straight away is the regulation, strong regulation, pro-business regulation. And when I met His Excellency Ahmed Jazim Al-Zabi, understanding his vision of regulating traditional markets as well as the digital markets. And that was extremely important for us, which I will discuss later. Other reasons that came into my thinking were UK rule of law. The AGM is set up under UK rule of law, gave us confidence for the future and to have long-term commitment. The time zone is a fantastic time zone for trading global macro, particularly in the middle of all the action here, and that's great for a lot of our traders. And the UAE was the first country to sign the Abraham Accords in 2019. And my good friend Sir David Ajay, he was the architect that won the competition to build the Abrahamic family house. So I had seen a mock-up of it, and I wanted to go and see it in person. And when you go there, it's incredible how this is the only place in the world, I believe, where you have a church, a mosque, and a synagogue all in the same park. And really, the message for me from that was that this place is open for business from wherever you are. So really, it was actually a very easy, rational decision to make to come here, and I was still committed to be here for the long run and long-term commitment.
And I mean, you have been our partners for the last 3 years. I think moving on from there, I mean, clearly a lot has happened in the last 3 years, Alan. I mean, there's been the Lunate investment, there's been growing the ADGM presence. What has been the most kind of memorable, exciting part of that journey? I mean, it's been a great journey together. Kind of, what would be your big takeaways from that journey?
So after my visit here a few years ago, we set up within 3 or 4 months. We're ready going with 15 people. And now we have 150 people here.
Yep.
And I think the reason why we have so many people here is because they love being here. And they know that our commitment internally and externally to be here for the long run. Once employees see that, they want to be part of that journey. And now we have more money managed here than anywhere else in the world for us. More traders, more money managed here. And I think that's going to continue to grow. The second thing is we've been extremely happy. The regulation has, in both areas, been very good and and innovative. And when we came here, we had hardly any money in our LPs from the region at all. But I was committed to long run, and as long as we have good products which performing well, of course, over time we would, like in any place, raise LP money. And this summer we struck a partnership with Lunate, where they have committed long-term capital as an LP to our funds, as well as taking a strategic stake in the company. And on top of that, we are developing joint products together under them for distribution in the region. So extremely excited by that, which has come just a couple of months ago.
Wonderful. And probably the third question from my end is, as we continue down this Falcon economy strategy, one of the core elements for us has always been learning from the best, right? And innovating and improvising from the best. So given what you've seen, in Abu Dhabi and specifically in ADGM, what would be, because you operate around the world, you're regulated by multiple regulators, what do you think are the key things for us to focus on or improve going forward?
More office space. We've run out. and we have a wait list of people that want to come. So we're going to take more space here. That's the first thing.
There was a big announcement today morning.
Okay.
There's going to be a lot more space coming up on the island. But yeah.
But Abu Dhabi is clearly on its way to become a global financial center. And I said a few years ago, I thought it could be the third leg or one of the three legs with New York and London. And I think it's fully on that way to already be there. To do what, to be that, which is going to continue to do, it needs trading of global capital markets. And because there is an ecosystem, and as more asset managers and banks come here and trading in all assets increases, you do get a flywheel effect where there's a ratio of 3 or 4 to 1 of service providers versus people managing money. So I think over time, I can see Abu Dhabi doing its own way by growing a financial center here, not only in traditional markets, but also in digital markets. So I think there is, and I think that it's well on its way to becoming that third center. What really the question is, can others learn from Abu Dhabi? And I was with my executive chairman, Carlos Hernandez, who was at JP Morgan for 37 years, running everything there under Jamie Dimon. We went to El Salvador 2 or 3 weeks ago, and it's extremely impressive what's happening there under President Bukele, who has a 91% approval rating. But there are characteristics of what's happening there that I can see here in terms of safety, excellent regulation, pro-business, government involvement, tax advantages, fiscal advantages, and strategic thinking. So I can see some of the things I see here, we can see there. So that's why I think there are things that we learn from both.
That's wonderful. And I think now to the kind of final question, I guess. We're running out of time, but the final question from my end, if I was to look through a crystal maze, and as a macro investor, you're used to looking through a crystal maze, what do you think the future holds, both for Brevin, but also for this partnership with Abu Dhabi?
So Brevin Howard used to be a hedge funder, but under Aaron Landy's leadership as CEO of the company's transformed from a hedge fund to an alternative asset manager. It's a multi-manager, multi-fund asset management platform using macro expertise and intelligence across all asset classes, but clearly tech-enabled and infused, as well as looking at digital assets. So as we continue to grow that alternative asset management platform under Aaron, I think this will be where we'll have more and more of our people and more and more of our money being managed. Secondly, we decided a few years ago to get involved in digital assets. At the time, it wasn't that popular. It wasn't that popular, but I was convinced that there's going to be some combination of the traditional markets and the digital markets in some form or other, specifically in the infrastructure zone. So we wanted to get involved in the digital ecosystem. And the ADGM has exactly the same vision that there is. We'll see how it turns out. There's going to be some combination of infrastructure with both of these markets. So it's extremely exciting for us to be here with a regulator that has the same vision that we do. If you think about since then, last week there was an excellent article by Larry Fink and Rob Goldstein from BlackRock talking about tokenization.
Yeah.
So clearly, others obviously feel the same way. This is the way of the future. That we'll see how it turns out. But being here is essential for us for that reason. And there are a lot of companies to invest here. Although the infrastructure is not ready completely for these transformations, there are a lot of companies that we can invest in here that allow us to be here, and that's why we love being here.
No, it's wonderful. I think, as you said, Alan, that convergence between TradFi and DeFi, I think you've been at the cutting edge of it. As ADGM, we've been on this journey since 2018. So I guess we're national partners in that sense. Alan, thank you so much for your time. Really appreciate you being here with us.
Thank you so much.
Thank you all. Thank you very much.